Okay, so we are going to understand diaspora criticism. What is diaspora? The Greek word diaspiro means to disperse or to scatter, where a community scatters over different places. Okay, displacement of a community into another geographical area. So the physical displacement is there when a community is displaced, removed from its actual place and sent to another country. Leads to multiculturalism and the idea of a cosmopolitan world. Okay, so this is diaspora basically. If we are going to look at the meaning of the word, the literal meaning of the word. Now there are different diaspora groups. There is Asian diaspora, African diaspora, European and internal diaspora. Okay, like African diaspora, Palestinian diaspora, Tamil, Cuban, Irish, Jewish, Indian, South African, South Asian, and the French Canadian. Internal diaspora must be a new term for you. Like the Tamils, they also feel uprooted from their place. They have gone to Sri Lanka, and these Sinhalese Tamils, they are still fighting. You must have seen the web series Family Man. देखी थी. In that problem was taken up, and it's a really good web series. I've seen that. Okay, so this is internal diaspora. Now here we are going to focus on Indian diaspora, and it will also become very easy for you. So there are different kind of migrations. Migration is the central thing in diaspora. Forced migration like African people, Fiji, and the people from Caribbean islands. These people were forcefully removed from their actual place, from their families. They have been detached from their family ties. So that is why these people may be feeling lonely, may be feeling alienated, and maybe not feeling very homely in the other land. Volunteer migration like USA, UK, France, because USA, UK and France, they provide better opportunities. People go there. That's where the problem of brain drain comes in. And even from people from India and other developing countries, they go in these countries, they go to these places just to explore new places or new jobs. Okay. The writers here are Jhumpa Lahiri, Kiran Desai, Chitra Banerjee, Divakaruni, Anita Desai, Meena Alexander, Bharti Mukherjee, Uma Parmeshwaran, Gayatri Spivak, and many more. Like there is Salman Rushdie, V.S. Naipaul, and लिखे हैं यहाँ पे नाम ना मैंने, Amitav Ghosh, M.G. Basanji, Rohinton Mistry, Vikram Seth. These people have written about India and what they feel about India, how much loneliness they have encountered there in other countries, and how much related they feel to India. We are going to see all of that here. A.K. Ramanujan is also in some way comes under Indian diaspora. Okay, the thing is that they use the colonizers' language. All these writers write in English language. ABCD, this is another important term regarding Indian diaspora. It means American born, confused desi. You must have heard this word in namesake as well, where Gogol goes into a club, and then he finds that there is something, some kind of a term people were using, and they were calling it ABCD. The themes are displacement, nostalgia, memory of the homeland, mixed identity, push and pull theory, alienation, hybridity. इनमें से डिस्प्लेसमेंट ये ऊपर वाले मैंने आपको समझा दिए हैं. ठीक है, डिस्प्लेसमेंट मतलब फिजिकल डिस्प्लेसमेंट, आप एक जगह छोड़ के दूसरी जगह जा रहे हो और वहाँ आपको अच्छी कंडीशंस नहीं मिल रही हैं, तो आपको क्या फील हो रहा है कि डिस्प्लेस्ड फील हो रहा है कि यार मैं तो अपनी कंट्री से बाहर आ गया, देयर इज़ नो वन, कोई है ही नहीं मेरा. और ऐसे करके ऐसा होता है ना कि अगर आप कहीं बाहर कंट्री में जाओ और आपको लगे कि यहाँ पे तो कोई है ही नहीं, बट सडनली यू सी समवन हु इज़ फ्रॉम बांग्लादेश और मे बी ही इज़ फ्रॉम पाकिस्तान, बट यू विल फील कनेक्टेड टू दैट पर्सन, मे बी बिकॉज ऑफ his face or his ethnicity, the way he looks. Okay, so you will feel connected to that person. Suddenly you go to a place where people, all people are white and they are having golden hair, and suddenly you see someone who has black hair, that person will certainly attract your attention. Okay, and you may decide to go to that person, and which country are you from, in the hope that maybe he's from India or maybe some other place near your country, just to find that connection. Okay, So that nostalgia is there, okay, where you want to be in the country where you are from, but you cannot because of some reasons. It can be a it can be a volunteer migration, or it can be a forced migration. Okay. Memory of the homeland, it is the main theme of all these works. Like in Jhumpa Lahiri, I told you, Ashima longs for the spices and that masala chana and all those kind of things. And whenever they go to India, they feel overwhelmed by the food and all those things. They eat jalebi and different kind of foods there. They also take spices from their country to their country where they have migrated. Then push and pull theory. Push means the forced migration, and pull means these countries have attracted you because they offer better opportunities. You yourself have decided to go to those countries. Alienation, because of the host country's hostile attitude, you feel alienated, you feel alone, uprooted from your place. Hybridity, and hybridity as the third space. Hybridity is you, in your mind, you are an Indian, you are living at a place which is American or British or whatever the country is, okay, and in your mind there is a hybrid kind of thing that is developing, and you will see this hybridity more in the next generation. Okay. Longing for motherland, this is felt by Ashima and her husband so much. They always want to go to India. They always, even every day, she mentions the name of her country and once or twice. And she also tries to inculcate Indian values in their children. But all actually goes in vain. Racial difference is something that these people talk about, because not every country is very respectable to the people who have migrated there. Okay, sometimes they don't behave in a very good manner. Okay, so that racial difference is kind of very clear, and the behavior of the people also changes. So that is there. Conflict of the East and the West, it is also there. Okay, because the culture is different. Sometimes you meet people who love your country, who love you, and sometimes you meet some people who actually don't like your country. Okay, or they have certain prejudices already set against your country or the people who live there. Now, diasporic or expatriate literature. Now, the features of diasporic literature. Details of homeland, childhood. You will see that people like Jhumpa Lahiri, Meena Alexander and Chitra Banerjee, these people will talk about their homeland. Okay, they will talk about the place that they have lived. They will talk about the crowd they have seen in India and how the roads are very vacant here in the other country. Okay, Ashima also talks about the same thing, that on the road I don't find many people, but if you are in India, you are going to see a huge crowd. Okay, and they see beauty in that. They will talk about their childhood, historical events. Historical events are also very important because they are going to talk about their freedom fighters and maybe the prime minister of their country. But they are going to make their children feel connected to the country. Okay, they will make them feel as well, and they will tell them about the great people of their country. So historical events will also be there. Okay, where they will talk about the kings and queens or whatever it is. So you will see these things as well. Okay, remember that we are actually discussing that what happens in a diasporic literature. What are the details, or what is the content? Okay, so content is details of homeland, childhood, historical events, people of their country, Indian landscape, the way India is so beautiful. So they are going to describe it in their own way, maybe 2, 3 or 10 pages long paragraphs you will see there. From center to the periphery, you will see that how they were there in the center, but now they have migrated. They are not in the center anymore. Why? The center means something which is important. Okay, the center is important. Center, why? Because political power is there, and you are not taking any part in the political power. You are not the part of the religious center. Okay, you are not part of all those kind of things which are important for that country. You are just a part where you are doing your job, you are getting paid well. Okay, but you are under the control of all the others. Okay, alienation, because you feel alone. Okay, Rootlessness, you will not feel connected to your roots because there is nothing. You feel already very away from your motherland. Okay, so this is something that you will feel continuously, rootlessness. And the rootlessness is mental as well, because parents are there, maybe old parents are there living in India. Okay, so your parents are your first and foremost roots. Okay, apart from your country, your home, okay, where you have lived as a child, those memories, because those things are not with you, you feel rootless. Memory of festivals, relatives, food, you will see that in Diwali these people feel very alienated. They cannot come to their own country, to their homeland, just to celebrate a festival. And there are so many festivals in India that you cannot even every time come back here. Okay, so they also try to celebrate it in their own way. जैसे आशिमा भी करती है ना, कि अब वो कुछ कुछ जो फ्रेंड्स हैं वहाँ इंडियंस, उनको बुला करके वो लोग कुछ कुछ चीज़ें करते रहते हैं, कभी दिवाली पे, होली पे पार्टीज़ करते हैं, और वो अपने तरीके से जो उस तरह के फेस्टिविटीज़ हैं वो सब चीज़ें सेलिब्रेट करने की कोशिश करते हैं. ठीक है, तो वो मेमोरी ऑफ फेस्टिवल्स वो भी देखने को मिलेगा. रिलेटिव्स, उनकी बातें और वो सब चीज़ें. फूड तो बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट है. असिमिलेशन इन द न्यू कल्चर, इसके बारे में भी वो आपको बताएंगे. जितने भी डायस्पोरिक राइटर्स हैं, दे विल टॉक अबाउट हाउ दे हैव ट्राइड टू अडेप्ट द न्यू कल्चर, हाउ दे हैव ट्राइड टू असिमिलेट देमसेल्व्स एंड देयर चिल्ड्रन इन दैट कल्चर. Conflict in generations you will find a lot here, especially in the namesake. Okay, namesake को याद रखोगे तो पूरा इसके बारे में लिख पाओगे, diasporic literature के बारे में. Okay, so conflict in generations, you see that how Gogol is very much troubled with his identity. He has to explain everyone why his name is Gogol, and then it is neither Indian. He expects that maybe it is Indian, so that I can tell people that yes, it's an Indian name. Then he turns his name, changes it into Nikhil. The same thing happens with Sonia. Okay, her name is Indian, but she is totally American. She is not even that much connected to India as much as Nikhil does or Gogol does. सो यू विल सी द कॉन्फ्लिक्ट इन जनरेशन्स, कि वो पेरेंट्स कितना ज़्यादा स्ट्रगल कर रहे हैं गोगोल को समझाने के लिए. उसको गोगोल बोलते हैं, वो बोलता है कि नहीं, मेरे को ये मत बुलाओ, ठीक है, कॉल मी नाउ निखिल, माई नेम इज़ चेंज नाउ, ऐसे ऐसे. और उसको स्कूल में भी इतना स्ट्रगल करना पड़ता है, एंड पीपल मेक फन ऑफ हिम, एंड ही एक्चुअली डजंट लाइक इंडिया मच. ओके, देयर आर सम एक्सर्प्ट्स दैट आई हैव टेकन फ्रॉम द नेमसेक. ओके, फर्स्ट कोट है, आशिमा हैज़ बीन कंज्यूमिंग दिस कंकॉक्शन throughout her pregnancy, a humble approximation of the snack sold for pennies on Calcutta sidewalks and on the railway platform throughout India, spilling from newspaper cones. Even now that there is barely space inside her, it is the one thing that she craves. So she craves for that chana or that parmal जो यहाँ इंडिया में बहुत मिलता है, उस चीज़ को वो बहुत ज़्यादा मिस कर रही है. So see, food is there, that nostalgia is there. She is talking about Calcutta sidewalks. See, then second quote is, what a difference. He thinks from the childhood he has known. Ashima thinks the same, though for different reasons. For as grateful she feels for the company, these acquaintances are only substitutes for the people who really ought to be surrounding them. वो बोल रही है कि यहाँ पर जब मे बी शायद उस समय जब गोगोल पैदा होता है ना, तो शी इज़ सो अलोन, और वो मिस करती है कि अगर ये सब लोग मेरे पास होते तो अभी क्या क्या हो रहा होता, जब मेरा बेबी हो रहा है तो किस तरह का एटमॉस्फेयर रहता, और मैं तो यहाँ अलोन दूसरी कंट्री में हूँ, और जो लोग मेरे आसपास हैं एक्चुअली में दीज आर नॉट द पीपल दैट ऑट टू बी देयर. इन्हें नहीं होना चाहिए था, उनको होना चाहिए था, मेरी दादी नानी इन सब लोगों को. ठीक है, शी सेज that she feels grateful for the company, जो लोग उसके लिए आए हैं, भले फॉरेनर्स हैं, but she actually longs for her relatives. These acquaintances are only substitutes for the people who really ought to be surrounding them. Without a single grandparent or parent or uncle or aunt at her side, the baby's birth, like most everything else in America, feels somehow haphazard, only half true. She has never known of a person entering this world so alone, so deprived. And she feels so sorry for Gogol or Sonia, whoever is taking birth right now, कि कितना बेचारा, देखो इसके तो अंकल भी नहीं है, वो नहीं है, बच्चे को क्या फ़र्क पड़ रहा है, पर उसकी माँ को फ़र्क पड़ रहा है कि देखो कोई भी नहीं है यहाँ पर, एंड आई पिटी दिस चाइल्ड हु इज़ कमिंग to this world so alone. There is no uncle to hold her, there is no auntie, or there are no grandparents there. So you see, relationships are being talked about, and the way they feel so deprived. वो जो डिप्राइव फील करते हैं ना बार बार, जो कमी उनको फील होती है, क्योंकि कमी तो फील होगी ही, यू आर एट अ टोटली डिफरेंट प्लेस, ठीक है, तो वहाँ रिलेटिव्स वो सब तो आ नहीं सकते, इसलिए. थर्ड कोटेशन इज, फॉर बीइंग अ फॉरेनर आशिमा इज बिगिनिंग टू रियलाइज इज अ सॉर्ट ऑफ लाइफ लॉन्ग प्रेगनेंसी, अ परपेचुअल वेट, अ कॉन्स्टेंट बर्डन, कंटिन्यूस फीलिंग ऑफ आउट ऑफ सॉर्ट्स. सो शी काइंड ऑफ सीज दैट जब आपको कोई जगह पसंद नहीं आती ना, तो आपको ऐसे ही लगता है कि ये तो बहुत ही लंबा टाइम है यहाँ पर, लगता है ना अच्छा टाइम होता है, ट्रिप पे जाओगे तो कब 4-5-6 दिन बीत जाते हैं, पता नहीं चलता. द सेम थिंग हैपन्स विद आशिमा. शी फील्स दैट इट इज़ लाइक अ काइंड ऑफ परपेचुअल वेट. आई हैव टू वेट फॉर wait for the day when we will go back to India, but it is not going to happen. Even after some time, her husband also gets transferred, and she is alone, and after that he dies, and all those things happen. She has to go through all those things alone. So she thinks that it is like a perpetual weight, a constant burden. It is an ongoing responsibility, a parenthesis in what had been ordinary life, only to discover that the previous life has vanished, replaced by something more complicated and demanding. Now, diasporic criticism, next slide. Diaspora criticism provides a systematic framework for discussing displaced communities and relates them to the social, economic, and cultural pressures of the contemporary society. For study, diaspora criticism takes the object diaspora. Diasporic literature deals with displacement, alienation, rootlessness, and identity crisis, especially the next generation. जैसे गोगोल के केस में बताया कि उसको आइडेंटिटी क्राइसिस बहुत ज़्यादा होता है कि मैं इंडियन हूँ कि मैं अमेरिकन हूँ. अमेरिकन्स डू नॉट कंसिडर मी एज अमेरिकन्स, एंड इंडियंस डू नॉट कंसिडर मी as Indians, and even he does not feel connected to Indians, he does not feel connected to Americans as well, so he is in between. जब भी डायस्पोरिक क्रिटिसिज्म या किसी भी क्रिटिसिज्म के बारे में लिखोगे, यू विल स्टार्ट लाइक दैट इट प्रोवाइड्स अ सिस्टमैटिक फ्रेमवर्क फॉर डिस्कसिंग दिस थिंग. तो यहाँ पे डिस्प्लेस्ड कम्युनिटीज़ के बारे में ही हमने बात करनी है. सेकेंड, द ऑब्जेक्ट इज डायस्पोरा ओनली. Okay, diasporic literature deals with all these themes that we have already talked about earlier: cultural assimilation, racial discrimination, and cross-cultural encounters. Okay, and the question of belongingness. So this is all about diaspora criticism. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much.